Let's talk about the kid that gets picked last in gym class. And no, I'm not talking about you in high school. I'm talking about the club that gets most overlooked in your bag. That's this right here, your putter. Now, unless you're Minwoo Lee and you got a prescription from Dr. Chipinski, you're using this club almost every single hole that you play. And that begs the question, are you playing the right putter? And what does it mean to play the right putter? Well, we're gonna get into it right now. There are really three different body types when it comes to putters. The first is a traditional blade. The second most common is going to be a mallet putter. And then oftentimes you see something in between. A mid-mallet or a double wide kind of fits in between the blade category and the mallet category, hence the name. There's really no wrong answer when it comes to selecting your body style. It comes down to player preference. Try out a couple putts with the mallet, try out a couple putts with the blade, and figure out what looks the best when you're looking down over the ball. What inspires confidence, what feels like you're gonna make the most putts, what's the easiest to line up the ball behind, and what feels most comfortable. From there, that's kind of your starting point. Are you a mallet player, are you a blade player, or are you somewhere in between? So what is a hosel? Well, a hosel is a part of a club that connects the shaft to the club head. You may be familiar with this part of the club when you shoot one off to the right or shoot one off to the left. It's called a shank. But with putters, a hosel plays a much different role. There are two main variables when it comes to hosels, and that's shaft offset and toe hang. Shaft offset is pretty straightforward. It's the amount of offset between the shaft and the club face. When you're looking at a club, if the shaft is ahead of the club face, then that's offset. If the shaft is behind the club face, then that's onset. And the reason why that matters is because where that shaft is in relation to the club face impacts when you're gonna hit the ball in your putting stroke. If you have shaft offset, that means that the shaft is ahead of the club face, meaning that you're gonna hit the ball after the shaft carries through your putting stroke. Same thing applies if you have onset. You're gonna hit the ball sooner in your putting stroke before the shaft gets to where the ball is. And if you have no offset, then you're gonna hit the ball exactly when the shaft is over the ball. The second biggest variable when it comes to hosels is toe hang. And for those of you who don't know what toe hang is the amount of weight distributed to the toe of the club, which is this part right here, in relation to the heel of the club, which is this part right here. This is what we would consider a face balanced or zero toe hang putter. See how the face of the club points directly into the sky? That's where it gets the name from. You also have putter configurations that have toe hang. Here you can see this is about 45 degrees of toe hang. The weight's distributed to the toe of the club. Now, toe hang matters because it changes the properties of the club as you're putting. The more toe hang and the more weight distributed you have to the toe of the club, the faster that club face is going to swing around and close during your putting stroke. Same thing applies if you have no toe hang in a face balance configuration. That club face is going to stay open longer and not close as soon. Now, there's no right answer on whether you need more toe hang or less toe hang. It really depends on the player and your putting stroke. One of the great things about Astral is you're able to customize and continuously adjust the amount of toe hang that you have in your club. When you buy a putter from a golf retailer, you have a set amount of toe hang in your club, like this Scotty Cameron right here. Now, whether or not 70 degrees of toe hang is the optimal amount of toe hang for your particular putting stroke is open to debate. Whereas with Astral, you can continuously adjust. You can go up to 45 degrees of toe hang. You can go back into a face balance configuration, or you can go all the way down to 90 degrees of toe hang. This allows you the ability to continuously adapt your putter to your putting stroke, allowing for the most optimal performance on and off the course. Now, the next most important piece of selecting the right putter for you is going to be shaft length and grip. Shaft length really depends on the height and stance that you take when you're putting. We have a resources page on astralputters.com that can walk you through how to find the most optimal shaft length for you. This really depends on how tall you are, how long your arms are, and what your putting stance looks like. I've seen people over 6 feet get fit into a 33-inch putter, and I've seen people under 6 feet get fit into a 36-inch putter. It really depends on personal preference and what feels most comfortable to you. Additionally, grip is also super important. Whether you like something that's a pistol grip with a flat edge to help you line up the ball and figure out where that club face is during your putting stroke, or you like something to be a little bit more rounded. There's also different grip widths. Some are skinnier, some are fatter, some are longer, some are shorter. Again, the ability to adjust and play around with what feels most natural, what feels most comfortable, is really where you're going to find the most optimal configuration for you and your game. So there's a lot that goes into finding the right putter for you. We touched on 3 main things here. Body type, whether you're more of a blade player, a mallet player, or somewhere in between. We also talked about hosels, shaft offset, and toe hang, and what that does to your putter as you're putting the ball. Finally, we talked about shaft length and grip choice. Some other really important things to consider when selecting the right putter are things like lie angle and face inserts. You can find more information about this on our website at astralputters.com. Because when you have a good fitting putter, it leads to better performance on the course. Better fit, better performance, that's Astral Putters.